Breaking right now, an astonishing Prince Harry drug dealer claim made in the final day of evidence in the delusional Duke's disastrous case with the Daily Mail newspaper. And I have said all along, if you lie down with dogs, Harry, you get up with fleas. And that's exactly what has happened to the stupid man, the absolutely stupid man, who has allowed all of this to play out in court and allowed the private investigator, Gavin Burrows, to reveal that the only time he had ever done work for the Daily Mail in connection with Prince Harry was trying to, quote, locate his drug dealer at the nightclub China White. Now, this case has been a disaster from start to finish, but as I have always warned, Harry was relying on literal criminals, actual phone hackers. And surprise, surprise, these people are the scum of the earth. And the problem is that Gavin Burrows was the man that so much of this case relied on. And he says that his key testimony was forged. And actually, if we just look again at the signature that he said was forged of his compared to his real signature, you can see it's markedly different. And so Harry might think, oh, well, I got my day in court to say how terrible it is and how my life was ruined. But you know what else has been ruined after this, Prince Harry? Your credibility. Watch.
I've never believed that my life is open season to be commercialized by these people. To act in the public interest is to interest the public. I fundamentally reject that. Having my life, like others, commercialized in this way since I was a teenager, delving into every aspect of my private life, listening to calls, blagging flights so they could see where I was going. It was a time when everyone was in competition with each other. To sit here and go through this again, and to hear them claim in their defense that I don't have any right to privacy, is disgusting. They have made my wife's life an absolute misery, my lord.
But of course that was rubbish on a whole load of levels. And your wife, Harry, is the one who now turns up at the opening of an envelope, begging the media to take pictures of her caressing her best friend's bump. So please spare me the faux sympathy for Ms. Markle in regards to media intrusion. Now, in terms of these drug allegations, obviously you could say in some ways they are not a surprise. Prince Harry has admitted illegal drug use. Indeed, he did so in his autobiography Spare, which is one of the reasons he may actually be illegally living in the United States of America, a case that the Heritage Foundation and Niall Gardner continue to take up until this day. So I guess if someone has taken illegal drugs for a long time, the assumption would be that they did have a drug dealer. But the fact that this has been put into the public domain for the first time in a court case that can be widely disseminated and widely reported, and it also involves one of Harry's previous nightclubs, or at least a place he used to attend, is, I would argue, a massive PR own goal at the very least. So I want to take you inside the courtroom now. Tom Sykes has done some brilliant reporting about what exactly went on. And as I say, these guys are all scum. They are all scum. These are the people who tried to ruin my life on lies. But Harry, you're the one that is relying on them in a court case worth tens of millions of pounds. You're the one who has wasted judges' times and lawyers' times and media's time. Tom Sykes reports Prince Harry's media trial descended in too fast today after a private investigator told the High Court that his apparent phone hacking confession had been written by a con man and said the only time he ever investigated Harry was in an attempt to find his drug dealer. In a disastrous and humiliating day for Harry's superstar barrister David Sherborne, Gavin Burrows, 55, ran rings around him and the team, bringing a privacy case against Associated Newspaper Limited. He said his own 21-page testimony dated August 2021, in which he appeared to admit unlawful information gathering on a huge scale, was a bogus from start to finish. Beamed into court from a secret overseas location because of claimed security fares, Burrows launched through his evidence in a black short-sleeved shirt, black tie, and oversized headphones, moving in his chair and waving his hands as he spoke. He openly laughed at Sherborne as he derided his supposed confession as a falsehood, a stitch-up, lies, complete and utter untruth, and a thing of fiction. He told the court, "I didn't write a statement. I don't recognize anything in the statement. You can tell it's faked. The signature is not my signature. The whole thing is a falsehood." The reversal is important, Sykes argues, because Burrows' alleged admission had been central to claims brought by Harry, Sir Elton John, Baroness Doreen Lawrence, and others. In that statement, he appeared to say he had targeted hundreds, possibly thousands of people through voicemail interception, landline tapping, and access to medical and financial material for a Mail on Sunday journalist. On Monday, he said none of it was true and named Graham Johnson, a former tabloid reporter. He is a guy who has given evidence himself and has been seen outside the court, a convicted phone hacker, by the way, as the man behind it. A member of Harry's team. Burrows called him a serial criminal and a proven con man. He said he had believed he was helping Hacked Off, the press reform group closely associated with Johnson, by giving expert background for research. Instead, he said his comments had been turned into a confession he never made. Burrows is understood to have received about $97,000 from Johnson. Johnson has denied paying anyone for legal testimony and has previously said he paid investigators and convicted hackers for time spent searching for invoices, while also trying to sign up some to write memoirs through his publishing business. Referring to the list of famous names in the statement, Burrows said, "Apart from calling me Jack the Ripper, you've put every possible name in there you could possibly think of. The man went too far. Your little creator of this has gone too far." Then Sherborne, he's the greasy lawyer with the big hair acting for Harry, tried to pin Burrows down on what he had told Johnson, describing in court as a trusted representative. Burrows answered with open hostility. "I don't think you've got a trusted representative," he said. "I've taken him to court and won. He's a proven con man. He's got multiple convictions in court, including pouring boiling water over someone's head and scarring them for life. He's a thoroughly not nice person." The hearing continued in this deranged fashion, with Burrows laughing and mocking Sherborne, telling him, "You've all been seriously misled by your own team. You need to be looking inward, not outward. I've never worked for A&L. That's the publisher of the Daily Mail. I've never received any payments from A&L. The sense of farce deepened when the judge was reduced to begging him, "Mr. Burrows, please stop." Burrows then apologised, addressing him with mock humility as "Your Worship," a title usually used for clerics. Burrows said the only work he had ever done for the Mail in connection with Prince Harry was trying to locate his drug dealer at the nightclub China White. Angela Levin is Prince Harry's biographer and our royal mastermind. Angela, absolutely astonishing scenes in court. What do you know about Prince Harry's drug use? Do you think Gavin Burrows is telling the truth about the fact that he was trying to locate Harry's drug dealer at a nightclub? We are on a mission to 700,000 subscribers, so I need you to do something for me right now. It is free, it is easy, it is simple. Just hit that subscribe button on YouTube. That's because over 50% of you watching this video haven't done that yet, and it is the best way to support Outspoken. We're totally independent, by the way, no big tech backing, no billionaires pulling the strings, and if you turn on the bell, you'll get alerted to all our new videos.
I don't know about him, to be honest, because when I was with him, he was charming and funny and worked hard. Just a few days out of 15 months, he was tired and a bit grumpy, but he never seemed to have drugs until he spoke to me about how he couldn't cope with the death of his mother. And that was a lot about drugs and whether he needed them and how badly he sometimes did. And then he was also very nice about William to say that he tried to help me. He was the one who tried to get me to see someone and I refused to. And in the end, he did. And then he forgot all about thanking William after that. But it was sort of dodgy. It was never talked about. I didn't want to talk about him because I thought that put him in a very bad place and quite angry. So we talked about other things and his mother and all sorts of things, but not that. I don't know. He never seemed to be druggy with me.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, Angela, he did talk about it a lot in Spare, didn't he? I've just
Yes.
been going back and looking, and he said, of course, I had been doing cocaine around this time. This is when he was 17 at someone's country house during a shooting weekend. I'd been offered a line and I'd done a few more since. It wasn't much fun and it didn't make me particularly happy, as it seemed to make everyone around me, but it did make me feel different. And that was the main goal. He described it as a social thing. He also spoke about marijuana use as a teenager as well, which had been well known. And then later, Angela, he said that he used psychedelics and magic mushrooms, saying psychedelics did me some good. I'd experimented with them over the years for fun, but now I'd begun to use them therapeutically, medicinally. They didn't simply allow me to escape reality for a while, they let me redefine reality. Under the influence of these substances, I was able to let go of rigid preconcepts to see that there was another world beyond my heavily filtered senses, a world that was equally real and doubly beautiful, a world with no red mist. He also, Angela, described a specific 2016 trip on magic mushrooms at Courtney Cox's house in Los Angeles. Now, remember, Angela, that was illegal at the time in Los Angeles. He's also spoken about the fact that he used drink and drugs to cope in the 2021 Oprah Winfrey series, The Me You Can't See. He said, I was willing to drink, I was willing to take drugs, I was willing to do the things that made me feel less like I was feeling. And then, of course, he also admitted to using drugs in the 60 Minutes interview with Anderson Cooper in 2023. He said it was because of the anger he said had inside of him, although on psychedelics, Angela, which remember are illegal in most parts of the world, he said doing it with the right people, if you are suffering from a huge amount of loss, grief, and trauma, then these things have a way of working as a medicine. So a lot of this, Angela, is admitted. He has admitted to illegal drug use in the past. I guess it's natural that someone had to be supplying him those drugs.
Yeah, let me just tell you one bit I'd forgotten that while he was at school, he used to hang around the pub and try and speak to a few guys who were selling drugs. And the people who were sort of looking after him, protecting him, they kept telling him to go away, but he wouldn't. So I don't know whether he took anything or didn't. But the thing about that is that they were too scared to tell then Prince Charles, their father, because Harry said that if they did say anything to him, he would deny it and they would get the sack. So that's a shocking thing to do. And I imagine that he did have some, but he didn't like the people who were trying to look after him to have any anything to do with it.
Angela, this court case is a complete disaster, is it not?
Yes, the whole thing is a disaster. I think he did it because Meghan wanted revenge, and so he listened to her, and he's trying to go back and back and back and back because he has no idea how these things work, and he wouldn't just look at it in great detail either. So he was lost both from what he wanted to say and what comes out of court, because the judge has said to him umpteen times, that is nothing. Just because you feel a bit bad about this, mate, this is nothing to do with what you're saying. You can't say that this is something that you can be given money for. It was a ridiculous, pathetic thing, and I think that his advisor was not very helpful either. He's probably got masses of money, but I think that you actually have to tell somebody, well, there's no path, no point sort of saying what you think. It's got to be something that is straightforward and told, or nothing. You can't, just because you feel bad, start getting loads of money for it.
Angela, the irony is that it's the Daily Mail that is today reporting news from Prince Harry's friends. They're moaning about the fact that he still hasn't been handed paid security by us, paid taxpayer-funded security. Here's Richard Eden explaining what's going on. But first, let me take a moment to tell you about a book I've just finished that stopped me in my tracks. It's called Dear Future, You Can Keep the Change by Ronnie Holt. And trust me, it's not a glossy Silicon Valley love letter claiming AI will simply make everything easier. Instead, it tackles the question the political class and tech titans dodge. What happens to ordinary people when our work, our value isn't needed? From jobs and wages to family life, faith and meaning. Holt argues artificial intelligence isn't just another gadget upgrade, it's the biggest reset of our lifetimes. And frankly, most of us are nowhere near ready. Now, what I really appreciated reading the book is the tone. It's not technical, not smug, not written for insiders. It's for people like you and me who can sense something huge is underway, and we want some straight answers. Because AI is already baked into daily life in ways that many of us don't even notice, and it's reshaping society at speed. So if you want a serious but accessible look at where we're heading and what we could lose if this goes badly, this is the book to read right now. So click the link in the description below or scan the QR code on screen to grab your copy of Dear Future, You Can Keep the Change. I really recommend this as your next read. But now, back to the show.
I've been speaking to a close friend of Prince Harry and Meghan, and he, like other friends of theirs, is still furious that they haven't been granted this automatic taxpayer-funded security when they make return visits to Britain. The committee that deals with this of the Home Office was meeting in January, but the committee still hasn't agreed to it. Harry's really keen to get this back because he wants to bring Meghan back to Britain for the first time in 4 years this summer for an event to mark a year ahead of the Invictus Games in Birmingham. Harry's old friend, Alex Rayner.
And it's Alex Rayner who has been complaining on his behalf, Angela.
Yes. Well, he's just an idiot, isn't he? I'm afraid to say that he hasn't looked at things in detail and got it worked out. And the fact that he was once royal and he could say to anyone, I want this, I'm not happy with that. It's not like that anymore. One, because he's no longer part of the royal family and they won't take any notice of him. And two, because he doesn't know how things work. He just doesn't. And that's why he should have been very, very careful. And William was correct about which girl he chose. And also, how is he living?
Well, this is what Alex Rayner says, Angela. Harry is a royal who significantly served in the armed forces. To ask him to pay for it privately feels a tiny bit spiteful, given that there are other members of the royal family who receive it who do far less. The guy was flying Apaches in a conflict, and we've got the Invictus Games coming up in Birmingham. Are we not supporting him for that? Your response?
I hope very much that it doesn't go to Birmingham, and he does too, actually, because it's such a full of so many ruffians that he doesn't want them to be there. Because if Israel has applied to go to the Invictus Games as well, and he doesn't want any of them there because other people,
Yeah, Islamist protests, Angela.
yeah. So he doesn't know how to do anything, and I can bet you anything that the king won't go, and the queen won't go, and it'll be a terrible disaster. Because I think Meghan will probably come late if she comes, but she hates our place, but she must come, of course. And if she starts giving a speech before or after the king, telling everybody all about her and what milk she gave one child and all the rest of it, they will go berserk. They won't risk it. But she doesn't say she's coming. She tells you at the last minute when she's on her way. It's all nasty, very nasty.
Angela, there's also a pathetic fight back breaking overnight. This is from Team Harry and Meghan trying to say, oh, Netflix still love us. You know, Ted Sarandos may have unfollowed us on Instagram. All of the Netflix staff might be briefing to Variety magazine, but they love us really. And the proof, Angela, is the fact that Deadline has now reported that the awful, and remember we watched this, Angela, the awful 2024 Netflix docuseries Polo is being created as a drama, executive produced by Ms. Markle and Prince Harry, the two people who have absolutely zero experience executive producing anything. Now, it's described, Angela, as an upstairs-downstairs drama set in the high-flying equestrian town of Wellington, Florida, which revolves around the messy dynamics between two rival teams and the families that lead them. As I say, they are executive producers. The drama is believed to stem from the docuseries Polo. That was, of course, one hell of a flop, but it is a passion project of Prince Harry. Work on the project's Deadline reports continues amid a high level of scrutiny following Netflix's recent pullout as an investor in Markle's lifestyle brand as ever, and the streamer's docuseries used as a launch pad for the brand with Love Meghan, not going beyond its initial 2-season order. Well, look, Angela, I will believe it when I see it. Okay,
Yes.
when I actually see a TV drama based on Polo on Netflix, I will believe it. But I would be stunned if this ever gets made, Angela, because Polo, the docuseries, was a complete disaster. All of it was so out of touch. No one really engaged in the sport. It wasn't a particularly interesting sport to follow behind the scenes. But I think this has been leaked by
We
them.
didn't even know, sorry, we didn't even know who they were, most of them. I mean,
No
just
idea.
as an
No
ordinary
idea.
person, they didn't make it clear who was doing what. So it was just absolutely awful. I don't know if they will do up and down at polo. I thought they sort of go on the ground, isn't it? Something like that.
Yeah, I
No,
don't.
it's-
I do not.
I bet you it
sense-
doesn't come out. I don't. They have to say that to make sure that they still feel that there's something and they're going to beat anybody who
Well, the
wants to
reality is
one
most
side.
projects in Hollywood spend years being developed. Very few are actually made. I mean, come on, it's been 5 years. There has not been one scripted project from Harry and Meghan that has actually made it to air on Netflix. I think they say what the book that they're adapting is now going through a script rewrite, but all of this just feels like a desperate attempt to try and say, oh, Netflix really do love us, even though Ted Sarandos has unfollowed us on Instagram. Now, there's also some of Meghan's friends out in the media trying to do her PR, Angela, and we're meant to be getting very excited over the fact, Angela, thank goodness she's going to return to acting and apparently blow our mind. Now, this has come from Eric Roberts, interesting guy. He is a Hollywood actor and also the brother of the superstar Julia Roberts. And in an exclusive interview with the Daily Mail, he said of Meghan, she will come back. Remember, his wife is also his manager called Eliza, and they both know Meghan. Eric Roberts said, it is time, and Meghan needs to come back to work. I feel like her whole family will support it, and she is amazing. Eliza claimed the 44-year-old stepped away from Suits because the royal family had concerns about her very sexy screen character, paralegal Rachel Zane. It is tricky because of the monarchy. Her role in Suits was very sexy, she said. Her making love with another man, that was just, I've never seen anything like that. She worked so hard to get there, that was just too much. Women don't give up their jobs for a marriage anymore. I understand the intention, and she thought she'd be satisfied with doing good works in the world, but she needs to be acting. She is a young woman who needs to be acting. Meghan is a star. From the second you see her, she just has star quality. It doesn't matter. It was always going to happen. Eric Roberts was definitive in his opinion about Markle's potential comeback. I think she should come back. I think she will come back, he said, and I think she's going to be fantastic and blow everybody's mind. Now, Angela, can I just point out, it's a complete nonsense that the royal family stopped Meghan Markle from acting. They wanted her to keep on acting. I don't think they gave a damn about her scenes and Suits.
Queen was keen. She did say to her, by all means, to carry on and do it. But she didn't want to because they just got rid of her from her plays. So that's why. It's nothing to do with being good or the Queen doing something. She didn't mind at all.
And do you think this is all about laying the groundwork, Angela, for a Meghan Markle return to acting?
Well, she has done a little bit of something, hasn't she?
For the Amazon show, like a cameo. The thing is, she's playing herself in that, though.
Yes, but it's still no good. Somebody said to me, it's the most boring, awful thing you could see.
Oh, really?
So that's, I think that she now thinks she's very grand. So when she talks about herself, she's sort of, more grand and tall and all that. But I don't think she will want to have a love affair in a film.
Screen, it would be awkward. But I mean, all she's doing at the moment, Angela, is turning up to these red carpets, like the one with Kelly Zadgefin last week, without any real purpose.
Yes, I thought that it turned my stomach actually, rather strangely saying it. But I do know when you have a baby and you're quite gone through a long time and someone starts pushing and stroking it and rubbing it, it's painful and it's uncomfortable and it's incredibly vulgar. You don't want someone doing that. You absolutely don't. And she's pushing her back and forward. So it must be hellish uncomfortable. And then, that way of doing that with your shoulder, you probably don't, but it's a real sort of sexual thing. And she's doing all that so she gets the camera straight on her. Never mind this girl. She's just pretending and grabbing her hand, the same as she did with Harry. You've got to stay with me, and walking and having lots of pictures taken of her. I mean, it is absolutely disgusting. There you say, sit down, how are you? You can maybe just stroke her on the back or something nice, but you're not sort of pulling at her stomach. Everyone I know has spoken to me about it, not great numbers, but everyone who knows has just said, they would absolutely never speak to her again. What a disgusting thing to do. And it's very, very uncomfortable. But she's this cuddling, which she used to do with her friend a long time ago. It's absolutely just dreadful. She's just all me, 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 me. Who wants to see her like that?
I know. Weird is the word, Angela. Now, look, there is very awkward news for Meghan Markle and Prince Harry in regards to their nannies. They have always had a big nanny problem, pinning down the stuff, because remember, they want multiple people to look after their own children. Angela has been across the story right from the start, as have I, but there is new news breaking on this. So we're going to get to it as the Royal Uncancelled After Show continues. We will have this discussion over on Substack. You can join us there. The address to do so, www.outspoken.live. Paid monthly and annual subscribers get first access to the Royal Uncancelled After Show. You can watch live or on demand. You can message me directly on there. We are a free speech platform. And the key thing is that your support on Substack has allowed me to create all of this with Outspoken and do it all outside of the mainstream media, do it all outside of the Royal Rota. So I would love you to be part of us there. www.outspoken.live is the address. Dan Wootton Outspoken is your no spin, no bias, no censorship outlet for independent news. We have no big tech backing or billionaires pulling my strings, but that does mean I need your support. So please hit subscribe on YouTube, turn on the notification bell, and subscribe to Dan Wootton Outspoken on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. It's totally free, but allows me to continue my promise to always keep fighting for you.